here's my time frame to do my jobs in between. The rest of the time is my family time, personal time, whatever it may be. So that owning your own business is freedom. And it's freedom to have choice. Now, does it take a lot to get there? Yes, because you had to have your full-time job to supplement until his side hustle, which became his full-time job. It starts out like this. He's making his salary money. He starts his side hustle. And I mean, he's hustling and busting his butt down here. And the more time he puts in, finally it reaches even. And I'm sure it stayed even for a little while before you decided to let this go. Because he wants to wait till this gets equal to or above, and then you can let go of this 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 corporate job. And now you own your own business, making money for your family, and you bought your freedom of time. And I always say time is more important than time is money. Time's the most important thing. And I say young entrepreneurs, Whitney is a lot younger than I, even though he's starting to get quite a bit of gray in his hair there.
Yes.
But he has his own company now, business, and you're not, are you 40 now?
41.
41 now. So he's still a young puppy.
Yeah.
Going forward on that. But what is, in your opinion, Whitney, if you want to tell our audience, as somebody who's thinking about maybe not doing RV tech, but what would your advice be to somebody who's looking at an opportunity or an idea or a job?
That's you kind of hit the nail on the head when you see how it works. You know, you have your full-time job, side hustle, get it up to here. A lot of people have it a little backwards. They want to jump in and they think it doesn't cost any money to start up a business, and they think everybody wants to get rich quick these days.
Yep.
They don't want to put in the sweat equity into things. So exactly. So that's where I see a lot of people messing up, is like they'll quit completely their job. So then they have zero income coming in. Then they throw all this money over here and it doesn't take off exactly the way they think it does. It takes time. It takes some
time equity,
sacrifice. And time. Yeah, exactly. So that's the big kicker that I see, but I don't want that to deter anybody, because what he said, it's freedom. Now I can make my own hours. I can have a little Bible study with my kids in the morning. I can drink some coffee, and I can schedule my own vacation. Don't have to do any, I had 47 bosses when I left. That's work. So having me as I can make the decisions, the freedom. I wish I would have done it earlier.
That's always seems to be the underlying thing you hear from everybody who starts their business. I wish I would have started it earlier.
Exactly.
So, and it's a fear issue, because because you have security in this job, and you're trying something completely new, and it's a fear issue. And every single person, even myself or Whitney, you have to work through that fear issue. And like you said, sweat equity 99% of the time gets you through that.
Yes. Hard work ethic will get you through most of that.
One of the things kind of off the subject here is Whitney was in the health industry. And like you said, when the woohoo bat flu came through and everything, it got crazy. I mean, you were having to even put overtime in on all that. And well, do you even get paid for overtime there? No, so basically your one job went to like 3 or 4 different jobs.
Sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes, and that's really what drove him. Sometimes it's a situation at your corporate or work job that makes you say, I don't care what the cost is going to be, I got to get out of this situation. But back into the health industry, as you all know, who's part of the Ninja Nation here, watching Financial Prepper or Economic Ninja, the health industry is really starting to take a big hit. And you hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm in the health industry, my job is secure. Well, there's hospitals laying people off left and right. Whitney got the choice or the ability you were able to resign and quit your job. He wasn't laid off. And I know there's several people out there who are getting laid off. In fact, I know of a couple nurses who worked their tail off through the COVID deal, and now they're being laid off. Oh, we don't need you no more.
Yep.
And so what are you going to do? So if you have a side hustle, look into it. But again, number one, the very first step of whenever you're doing a side hustle, if you believe it's going to take off, you can try it, but you have to set up you have to talk with a lawyer. You have to get your LLC set up. You have to make sure you have your insurance set up. You have to make sure you talk to a good CPA and develop a tax plan, because all that stuff was taken care of at your corporate job. You never had to worry about that. You just received a paycheck. They took the taxes and everything out of it. And you just went, oh, okay, this is what I get, and you go forward. Now the onus is back on you. You have to learn new skills in those 3 areas. Then you go forward. If you plan your work and work your plan, you're going to be successful. Anything else you'd like to say about?
Yeah, I would just say, a lot of times it takes a little while to figure out what you're good at. For me, it took a long time. I really didn't come into what I knew what I could do until maybe my mid-30s or so. And I really started figuring out that I was good at fixing things. And I had no idea that was going to turn into a different career. In my mind, I was healthcare until I retired. And because of what you said, it's easy, it's comfortable, it's relaxing.
It's secure.
It's secure, but it's really not. Because they have a hold of you. They can do whatever they want to you at any time they want to do to you. And kind of in the healthcare field, just aside, it's either they're getting laid off or they're getting worked to death.
Yep.
It's one of the two. It's not this anymore. Like, we want to bring you in. We want you to be a lifetime employee. That costs them too much when they do that. So they don't want that anymore. They want the young people that they can give and just kill you. And then they want to get rid of you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I would say, find your wheelhouse. Find something you like, because if you start a business on something you hate doing, that's probably not going to work out in the long run. Nope. Unless you just plan on building a business and selling it, which sometimes works, sometimes I wouldn't advise that. Find something you like, find something you're good at, find something even you're very interested in and want to learn at. And then, like you said, start something on the side, see if it takes off. Call other people that has that same business. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this, preferably probably in another state. So you're not their competition, because sometimes
what were your ups and downs? And what were your problems?
Hey, what's your overhead? What's your problems? I mean, some people are wide open about that stuff, and they'll tell you exactly what their problems and what their issues and like what their background and what they make and what they don't make and how much overhead and all this kind of stuff. So,
but some of them aren't. But whenever you run across those people, say, I ain't gonna tell you. Don't get discouraged. Just check them off the box and go to the next one.
Yep.
Because if you have an idea, somebody else has probably already thought of it in the last 100 years and has probably started that. And unless you're inventing something, that completely different story, you have to get into patents. But to start a business, then call and ask the advice. Find a mentor. Hunter, and my previous one with Hunter, we talked a lot about mentorship. And you didn't really have him. You have a mentor. He's part of our church community. He has a mentorship several within our church community. But as far as this business itself, were you able to find a mentor, or you pretty much you had to become your own mentor on this?
Yeah.
Well, going through your classes, your manuals, and
exactly.
And so the due diligence of just learning.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You better, in this niche that I'm in right here, you better be a DIYer and can kind of figure things out already, because
DIYer stands for do it yourself.
Yes, thank you. A lot of people jump in and think, I'm an engineer, I can do this all day long, and they can do that book work, even though they do it backwards because they're engineers. Well, that's something else we can talk about some other time. A lot of people just have the book smarts, but then they can't apply it in the field. Right. If they run across something that's different that they've seen in class, it's like, whoa. They can't figure things out. So in this little niche, you need to be able to figure things out. And there's no mentor out here. There's a couple guys that I knew that were going to do well in this business, and we still talk on a daily basis, and we bounce things off each other. And it really helps because what I've seen, I might have seen 3 of them, and the guy in Nevada has seen none of them. Or the same way with me. I haven't seen this. I call the guy in North Carolina. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen 5 of those. It really helps to be able to bounce things off of people doing the same thing.
All right. Well, good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this gives you a little bit of motivation, a little bit of encouragement. We will have some more young entrepreneurs and the business ideas and stuff and ways that they were able to go from 0 to hero. And maybe not so much in the community, but with your family. And that's where it's most important. And that's where it counts the most. So, do you have one last thing or anything to add?
Well, I like what you said just at the end. Life, family balance too. You can't forget about that. If you got a family, if you don't have a family, it's something else, but you still got to have a little bit of a life balance. So remember that you still got those little mouths at home. They just want to see you at home.
Right.
You can't just go in working 117 hours, whatever, you can do that every once in a while, but you still got to be home, have that life balance, life-work balance.
Right. So do whatever it takes, survivors. So we want to thank Whitney for joining us today with, go ahead, RV Mobile Mechanics. Mm-hmm. What's your website?
I think it's t6rv.com.
T6rv.com. Again, that's T as in Tango, 6rv.com. So if you have an RV, now do you service just Oklahoma or several states?
We've been across state lines before. With this job, it gives freedom. Again, I'm not tied down to a hospital. So this winter we spent in Florida, so we can work in other states. Mainly when we're here, though. I just worked on some in Missouri, but yeah. So mainly when we're here, we're in Oklahoma, but we cover a pretty broad section.
So let's say Oklahoma, northern Texas, parts of Missouri, Kansas, and maybe New Mexico. Parts of New Mexico.
Yeah, that would be a long one. You'd have to have a big job for us to go out there. I'd usually be traveling to do that, but.
All right. So RV Mobile Mechanic, great side gig that turned into a full-time, very successful business. So Side Hustle Survivalists here, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get these ideas out. I mean, we see all this doom and gloom nowadays on the news and even a lot of YouTubers. And we want to try to give some motivation to people who say, hey, I just want to try this. Where do I go? Hit the share button. Even if you just hit share, hit the little red button, you post it to your own channel. It helps get this out there. The algorithms with YouTube, they just like the doom and gloom. They don't like these people who are successful. But we thank you. God bless. Side Hustle Survivalists wishes you a great day.